This is a much better deck than I originally anticipated. I don't mean that in a tier 0 or meta-defining way, but I remember back when Kashtira was just entering the TCG, and people were going for the zone locking, so I decided to play Lava Golems, and a couple of people really started coming at me for the decision in that video. A couple of weeks to a month later, pretty much everyone started using Lava Golems and Sphere Mode before Kashtira was forced to adapt and become a Rise Heart Pass. I bring this up because over the course of BLMM, DUAD, and JUHU, we're getting a ton of decks that feel like they actually work. I think this could lead to some major lack of exploration, and this deck might just catch people by surprise. If people question what you're playing when they see it, assert dominance and let them know that we catch stuff early over here. So we're going to start with the Doe Warrior, and you'll notice that I'm just going to call them by their first two letters. For simplicity, I don't think I need to read out the full name. It's a level 6 warrior that reads, you can send one Doe monster from your deck to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, but its level becomes 4 and its attack becomes 1800. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Exceed monsters, and that's all fine because we only play one Link monster, and the rest is pretty much rank 4, so you want it to be level 4. And if this card is detached from an Exceed monster to activate that monster's effect, you can add one Zoo monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Warrior once per turn. You'll notice that last bit is a little bit recurring, as each of the new monsters, it feels like, has the ability to add a copy of another Zoo, Ga, Go, or whatever the minute that they're detached in order to activate an Exceed monster's effect. But we're going to continue here by activating the Warrior from hand, sending away the Glove. We can special summon out the Warrior, then use the effect of Glove in the graveyard so we can bring that back, giving us rank 4 access, as we'll go into our Utopic Sage. Utopic Sage is a very solid enabler for this deck, as it just gives you the ability to play around hand traps better, as you'll see momentarily. But we're going to get ourselves the Arm Sage on field. Because we activated the Utopic Sage, we also can now activate the Doe in the graveyard, which will give us the ability to add our next new card. And this is the Zoo Knight. It's a level 3 Earth Warrior that reads, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can activate one of these effects. Add one Zoo monster from your deck to your hand, except Knight, and if you do, this card's level becomes that added monsters, which is pretty important because you want it to be level 4. The second one reads, destroy one level 4 or lower defense position monster your opponent controls. Finally, if this card is detached from an Exceed monster to activate that monster's effect, you can add one Ga monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Knight once per turn. Now, we're going to continue here by normal summoning the Knight, and this will give us the ability to add ourselves the coat, and then from here we can then go into our Girl. Our Girl is the next new card, as it takes 2 level 4 monsters, and it reads, if this card has a Zoo, Ga, Go, or Doe card as material, you can detach one material from this card, add one Ga, Ano, or Exceed card from your deck to your hand. You can only use this effect of Girl once per turn. A Utopic Future Exceed monster that has this card as material gains this effect. If it is Exceed summoned, activate this effect. It can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn, so momentarily you'll see that the Utopic Future is going to quote-unquote activate, and when you see that, it's because of the Girl, but we're going to use the Girl in order to get ourselves the Exceed import, which is quick play removal, so I felt that was solid all around, as we'll then be able to go into our Utopic Future, we'll be able to activate the Knight, as we'll then get ourselves our next new card. This is the copy of Gambara, a level 4 Light Warrior that reads, you can reveal one Ga monster from your extra deck, special summon this card from your hand, then you can apply one of these effects. Special summon one Ga monster from your hand. Secondly, change the battle position of one monster on the field. If this card is detached from an Exceed monster to activate that monster's effect, you can add one Go monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Gambara once per turn. Now, we're going to continue here by going into our Utopic Future finally, as then we can go into our Draco, and this will give us the ability to play around hand traps, as we have the Ga in hand to special summon, giving us access into having this on board as well, whether you want to use its own effect to special summon it, or you can use the Ganbara in order to special summon it. It really doesn't matter. But I guess I would like to point out that if you do special summon the Knight, trigger its effect in order to special summon, you could potentially bait a hand trap that way. So we're going to end up using the effect of Knight in order to special summon itself out by revealing the Girl. From here, we can then special summon out the Coat with its effect, as then we'll use the effect of Coat in order to bring back the copy of Glove. And from here, we'll then be able to go into the Ouroboros. The Ouroboros will then be able to rip a card from our opponent's hand. And now, just off of the Doe Warrior, we have the monster negation that we get off of Draco. We have the Exceed import, which is another piece of interaction with our opponent during their turn that isn't even a monster card, so it can play around stuff like Droplet, Imperm, etc. But then there's also the Ouroboros, which rips a card from their hand. And then finally, you also get a copy of the Go Blindberg, which is yet another new card that reads, when this card is normal summoned, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn, except Exceed monsters. Also, special summon one non-warrior Go monster monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Then, if this card is in attack position, change it to defense position. If this card is detached from an Exceed monster to activate that monster's effect, you can add one Doe monster from your deck to your hand, and you can only use each effect of Go Blindberg once per turn. So we're going to continue here by setting the import, and with this we can pass on to our opponent. Finally, I would like to point out that if it's something that you may not have noticed now, maybe you weren't in the game back then, these are actually all really old cards that were retrained for the old versions of them, which were basically unplayable during the beginning of the Exceed era. But now, seeing how much they can do with these retrains, I really just wish that we could get more archetypes with support like this. Now, for the second combo, I want to show a second iteration of what happens when you just have Warrior, and there's going to be a third combo with it also that takes a completely different approach as well, but we're going to use the effect of Glove, as we can now get access into our ZS Utopic Sage, use the effect of the Sage in order to bring out our copy of Arm Sage. From here, we'll then be able to use the Doe in graveyard to get ourselves the Knight. We'll then be able to normal summon the Knight again. A lot of this is going to start with the same motion. It's really just the end boards that can vary, and it shows how much flexibility this deck really has. But we're going to go into our Girl, use the effect of Girl, which will give us the ability to pick up the pickup. From here, we'll then be able to use the effect of Knight, which will get ourselves the copy of the Utopic. And the Utopic is pretty important because it's treated as any of your archetype cards. And this is pretty funny because it kind of reminds me of Pepe, where Pepe, you had a whole bunch of pendulum archetypes with different names, but they just kind of work together. This is sort of that, except it was actually meant to be a deck the first time that just didn't work, and now it finally does. But we're going to continue here by activating or going into our Utopic Future, then going into the Draco pickup, which will give us the ability to activate it with protection. But from here we can get ourselves the Ano, as we'll then be able to activate the Ano, pitching the Utopic, get ourselves the copy of Gambara and Go Blindberg, as now we can activate the Knight in hand, revealing the Girl so that we can special summon it out, use its effect in order to bring out the copy of Coat, and now from here we can use the effect of Coat to bring back Ano, or the Utopic, I'm sorry, and then from here we can go into our Girl, and then use the effect of the Ano in order to special summon out the Go Blindberg, and then from here we can go into our Magician, and with the Magician and Girl, now we have access into our next new card, number F0, Utopic Future Zexal. It takes 2 Exceed monsters with the same rank. This card's original rank is always treated as 1. Gains attack and defense equal to the total ranks of all Exceed monsters you control and in your opponent's graveyard times 500. Your opponent's monsters cannot target monsters for attack except this one. Also, your opponent cannot target other cards on the field with card effects, which is pretty solid for protecting your Draco. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a card or effect on the field, quick effect, you can detach one material from this card, take control of one monster your opponent controls. Also, this card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects this turn. So again, a very solid card all around that just gives it another end board piece and another way to interact with different decks, as I feel it's very important. The more decks that come out that are playable, especially with the course of these 3 sets, you need decks that can make different end boards to adjust to all the different strategies. Now for this third combo, this will be the last one with just Warriors. We're going to use its effect sending away the Glove. Then we'll be able to revive the Glove, much as seen before, so that we can go into our Utopic Sage. Then we'll be able to detach to get the effects of the Warrior alongside the extra body that you get from the Sage. So we'll continue here by getting ourselves the copy of Knight, normal summon the Knight, use the effect of Knight, as we'll be able to add ourselves the copy of Coat. From here we can then go into the Girl again, as we'll use the effect of Girl, add ourselves the copy of the pickup. From here we'll then be able to use the effect of Knight, get ourselves the copy of the Utopic, and from here we'll then be able to go into our Utopic 0, or Utopic F0. From here we'll then be able to go into our Draco, give us the ability to play around hand traps from this point on, as long as of course they aren't traps or some sort of spell. But we're going to use the effect of pickup in order to get ourselves the Ano, activate the Ano, pitching away the Utopic, which will get us the copy of the Knight alongside the Go Blindberg. From here we'll then be able to use the effect of the Gambara in our hand so that we can special summon it out, and then we can use its effect also special summoning out the Coat from our hand. So from here we can use the effect of Coat, which will bring back the Ano, and then we can go into our copy of Dempsey, use the effect of Dempsey. And Dempsey is another one of those cards that helps you detach, similar to Ouroboros, in case you want to get the Gambara Knight effect, because as seen in the previous combo where you go into the F0, you do bypass the adding. But we're going to continue here by getting ourselves the copy of the Cross Counter, use the effect of the Utopic in order to special summon out the Go Blindberg, and now we can go into our next new card. And you won't really see this much throughout the entire video, but I wanted to make it because it's another card that we're getting in this set, and I felt it was still worth going over because there is some things that you can do with it. But Rogue Champion Magnum Excalibur reads, it takes 2 level 4 warrior monsters If this card battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation, you can detach 2 materials from this card. This card's current attack becomes doubled during damage calculation only. Once per turn, during the main phase, quick effect, you can target one other phase-up monster you control, equip this card you control to it as an equip spell that gives it 2000 attack and defense. You can banish this card from your graveyard, shuffle 3 warrior monsters from your graveyard into the deck. So not only is this a form of recursion, but I know that this is a popular card to get hit by droplets or something like that, which can mean that its defense goes down to 0 and it can become something that your opponent can run over. But having the ability to use the effect of Excalibur and then make it 3000 defense again after that could still be powerful. On top of that, it gives you the ability to just get extra damage in by giving it 2000 extra attack as well. With this, we can set the copy of the cross counter, and if you would like to, you can use the effect of Dempsey in order to get that add off of Night or whatever. Now, we'll be starting with the Go Blindberg, as we're going to start here by normal summoning it, using its effect in order to get ourselves the copy of the Gigas. This is where you can deviate a little bit, because there's the Utopic that you saw we're playing, which is treated as pretty much any name, but then there's the Gigas, which can also be an extender from the graveyard. As we're going to go into our copy of the Utopic Sage, we'll then be able to bring out our copy of the Arm Sage. So again, once you have 2 level 4s, you're really able to do whatever you want here. But we're going to get ourselves the copy of Warrior to our hand so that we can special summon it, then be able to make its level 4 so that we can go into our Girl, use the effect of the Girl in order to get ourselves the copy of the Knight, which means that we can then use the effect of the Doe in order to get ourselves another copy of Coat, which means that now we have the Knight and Coat in our hand, and we can also go into the Draco so that we can play around potential hand traps. It's a really solid setup, being able to go into this and then still have extenders that can help you play. But we're going to continue here by using the effect of Knight, which will special summon itself out by revealing the copy of Girl in the extra deck. From here, we'll then special summon out the Coat, use the effect of Coat in order to bring back the Go Blindberg. And this is important because it means since we special summoned the Go monster, we can use the effect of the Gigas in order to bring itself back, which gives us that extra body for a second Exceed monster. And as you saw, we do want 2 rank 4s to give us the ability to go into the new Utopic Future Zero or whatever it's called, or the Utopic Zexal. We're going to go into our Ouroboros now, be able to rip a card from our opponent's hand, have the monster negation via the Draco, and once you rip a card from your opponent's hand, you can go into your Utopic F-Zero Future Zexal, whatever it's called. These names are really too long for me these days. Try to make it as close to the original name as possible, but with this, I'll take you on to the next one. Now, we're going to start this one with another 1-card combo featuring Knight, and we're going to normal summon the Knight, which will give us the ability to add the Coat to our hand, as we'll then be able to special summon out the Coat since we control a zoo monster. Then we can go into our Utopic again, as you'll see just a bunch of the same stuff. The minute that you get access into your Utopic, you have a monster that you can detach from it that gives you an addition for an extender. There's just a lot you can do here, as we're going to get our copy of the Gambara, use the effect of the Gambara, revealing the Girl, special summoning itself out, giving us access into the Girl. Now we can use the effect of Girl detaching the Knight. This will give us the ability to finally add from Knight. I don't think that I have in any of the other previous ones. You can correct me if I'm wrong on that, but we're going to get ourselves the copy of Pickup. From here, we'll then be able to use the effect of Knight to get ourselves the Gigas. And this is where I said previously that you can either ditch the topic off of it or you have the Gigas. In this scenario, I'm going to be showing what happens when you do get the Gigas. We're going to go into our Draco. We're then going to be able to activate the Pickup. We'll get ourselves the Anno, activate the Anno, which will be able to give us access to 2 more cards, which will get us the Warrior and the Go Blindberg. So from here, we're then going to be able to use the effect of Warrior, sending the copy of the Glove. Then we'll use the effect of Glove to bring itself back, as then we can use the effect of the Gigas as we special summoned out the Glove, and then have access into the copy of Ouroboros here. Now we can use the effect of Ouroboros, detaching the copy of Doe, ripping a card from our opponent's hand, use the effect of Doe in order to bring ourselves the Coat. Now we can pass on to our opponent with the hand rip, the monster negation, and you also have some follow-up along with a potential extender. Now for this next one, we're going to start here by special summoning the copy of Gambara Knight. From here, you can then special summon the copy of the Armored Sage. You can then go into your ZS, use the copy of the ZS in order to detach to getting ourselves the copy of Armed Sage. We can now use the effect of Gambara in the graveyard since we use the topic Sage detaching it, and this will give us access into the Go Blindberg. Now we can normal summon the Go Blindberg, which will give us access into another body, so you do kind of play harder into something like Nibiru here, but we're going to get ourselves the copy of Glove. From here, we can then go into our copy of Girl, use the effect of Girl in order to get ourselves the copy of Coat, as we'll also be able to use the effect of Go Blindberg to search here. So we'll get ourselves the copy of the Warrior. Then from here, we can go into our F0, as this will give us that monster negation so that we can continue our turn without having to worry about too much, as long as just no impulse or something. But we're going to continue here by special summoning out the Warrior, sending away another copy of Warrior. If you're playing a second copy of the Glove, or just have another target that you might want to send, you can do that as well. But I also felt that it was important to show that you can send another copy of itself, because it means that you can use less extra deck space overall, meaning less bricks. But I'm going to continue here by special summoning out the Glove. From here, we'll then be able to go into our Girl. We'll then be able to special summon out the copy of Coat. This will give us the ability to bring out the copy of Go Blindberg and give us access into Ouroboros so that we can rip a card from our opponent's hand, then give us access to the copy of the Utopic Zexal, as well as a search from the Warrior to get us some follow-up via the form of Knight. But you'll see that we're now going to go into the Zexal and pass on to our opponent on this. For the penultimate combo, we have the Ano plus any other card, really just showing a lot of 1 and 1.5 card combos, as we're going to start here by using the Ano, getting ourselves the copy of Knight and the Go Blindberg. From here, we'll then be able to normal summon the Go Blindberg, use its effect, which will bring out the copy of the Gigas. Here we can then go into our ZS, use the effect of the ZS, detaching 2, which will also trigger the Go Blindberg for the addition here, as we'll use the effect in order to get ourselves the Warrior. We can then special summon out the copy of Knight from our hand, as this will give us access into the Girl. And then from here, we can use the effect of Girl in order to detach the Knight, giving us 2 adds because we'll be able to get one off the Knight as well. Get ourselves the Coat alongside the Go Blindberg, and from here we can then go into our Draco, as this will give us protection from hand traps. We'll then be able to special summon out the Warrior from our hand as soon as we go into the Draco, sending away the Coat, or the Glove, I'm sorry, as we'll then be able to use the effect of the Glove in our graveyard to bring itself out. We'll then use the effect of Gigas since the Glove was special summoned, and from here we can then go into our Girl, use the effect of the Coat, special summon that out, as we'll then be able to use the effect of Coat to bring back the Go Blindberg, go into our Ouroboros, rip a card from our opponent's hand, and finally we can go into our Utopic Zexal along with getting the add off of the Warrior for the Coat, giving us that extra piece of extension. But now we're going to go into the Zexal, then pass on to our opponent on what we've pretty much been making. For the final combo, we have the Warrior plus any level 4 extender. So we're going to continue here by activating the Warrior, sending away the Glove. Now, instead of special summoning out the Glove in the graveyard, we're just going to special summon out the Armed Sage since we drew it. Go into the DS so that we can get ourselves another copy of the Armed Sage, and from here we'll then be able to use the effect of Do. Normal summon the Knight that we add off of Do so that we can get the effect in order to get ourselves the Coat. From here we can go into the copy of Girl, use the effect of Girl in order to get ourselves the copy of the Pickup. We'll be able to use the effect of Knight in order to get ourselves the copy of the Utopic. As then we can go into our Draco so that we can play around hand traps with the 3 extra cards that we have in hand now. So we're going to activate the Pickup here, as this will give us access into the Ano. We also have the discard along with the extender in hand. We have Utopic in order to get ourselves the Knight and the Go Blindberg. From here we can then special summon out the copy of Knight, revealing the Girl. This will also give us the ability to special summon the Coat off of its effect. Here we can then use the effect of Coat to bring back the Utopic, use the effect of the Utopic to bring out the Go Blindberg. And again, as you've seen before, we have access to Boros to rip a card from our opponent's hand. You can also make 2 rank 4s if you would like to, and maybe not play this at all, but you can then use the effect of the Go Blindberg, get yourself a copy of the Warrior, then use the effect of Love in the graveyard since we haven't used it yet, and go into Magician or Girl or whatever other rank 4 you want to make, and this will give us access into the Zexal. We can pass on to our opponent with the Monster Negation, the interruption that you get off of the Zexal, as well as some follow-up via the form of Warrior. All of the combos out of the way, we can get onto the deck profile. Now, there is a lot of ways that you can approach how you end your boards. A lot of the combos are relatively the same, where because you have to add certain things off of each name, for example, you can add 1 Do off of detaching this, or you can add 1 Ga off of detaching this, etc. Well, they can be expansive. It can also pigeonhole you into certain plays. Also, all feel like your best card, so you just play them all at 3, which makes it really easy on deck building. There's also the Ano that you can play at 3. This is another searchable thing that you can get for the Ano. Just an Ano searcher, so I felt like it was worth playing. Of course, you have your 2-ofs, which are the code alongside the Armored Sage. They're just the cards that you want to add or special summon off of your main Exceed monsters. In the case of Coat, it's really what you're adding off of one of the detaches. Your one of Twin Saber is here because if you are going second or if you go into your second copy of Utopic Sage, you have the ability to go into one of your Utopias or whatever and then monster negation on field with the Saber so that you can potentially break your opponent's board with it. I would like to go over some of the options here. Notice that we have another new card, the Hope Tactics. It reads, Utopia and Utopic Exceed monsters you control whose original attribute is light cannot be destroyed by card effects. Also, your opponent cannot target them with card effects. You can only use each of the following effects of tactics once per turn. You can declare a level from 1 to 12, target 2 face-up monsters you control, including a Gaw monster. Their levels become the declared level. If you Exceed summon a Utopia or Utopic Exceed monster whose original attribute is light, you can target one card your opponent controls, destroy it. I think this is a cute card, but unfortunately I don't feel like we have the correct cards to really make it work. As you saw throughout the combos, there's just other things that you might prefer adding and just even seeing overall, since this really does nothing in your hand when you draw it alone. That said, it does have the ability to potentially protect some of your monsters, but I just still don't think that's enough since Exil can help protect your Draco anyways. You'll also see the hyper rank up magic. Like if we get a rank 4 Utopia monster, anything for this archetype that lets us add a rank up, then something like this becomes possible for the number 99, which can then bring out something like number 38. As you saw, there's Dempsey, which you can play if you want to play the cross counter and give yourself another interaction that maybe doesn't lose to something like Imperm or Droplet. And there's the Goliath, which you can play if you want an extra name. Placian is other sort of interesting option. I don't think it's worth playing right now because you don't really need extension in this deck. What you need is end board pieces, and with the combination of what we have right now, it's just not really necessary. And there's the Eclipse Twins. If you want to play a Ryziel version, you can probably do that maybe. I probably have to cut a lot of the cards here in order to make that work, but we then have the Utopia double alongside the double or nothing, which you can use for going second. You can either main or side this, but then there's also the Full Armored Exceed, which is another interesting card in case we do get a target for it. Then there's also the Astral Karibo, which I didn't really like in this version of the deck because it locks you into number Exceed monsters, so I just didn't feel it was worth it. Finally, you have the Gaga Magician, which can be used to make the Dark Magician of Destruction when this comes out later on. You can just do something like activate the Yamato Peril and have that spell card activated, change this level to something that's higher than 6 or 7, whatever you need, then banish it in order to go into this and then get Dragoon access. And finally, you'll also have access to the Canine stuff. Justice Hunters will give you better consistency through Nibiru, and I felt that was important to note. But with all of that out of the way, I don't have much else to say as I felt I showed everything I wanted to in the combos. We have the 3 Warrior, the 3 copies of Knight, the 3 copies of Go Blind. We then have the 3 copies of Knight, the 1 copy of Thrust, the 1 copy of Talents, the 1 copy of the 1 copy of the Exceed Import, the 1 copy of Pickup. Then have the 3 copies of Para, 2 copies of Sage, the 1 copy of Twin Saber, the 1 Utopic, the 1 Gigas, the 1 copy of the Glove, the 2 copies of Coat. We then have the 3 Ash, the 3 Droll, the 3 Purge, the 3 Imperms. Again, this stuff is just really to play around Talents, Thrust, or any type of monster negation. Also, you want this stuff to play around Charmies. The way I'm kind of approaching this, decide the Charmies and then kind of try to counter them game 1. Better or for worse, I just don't like seeing those Charmies going first. Then onto the extra deck, we have the SP number 41, the copy of Magician. We then have the 2 copies of Girl, the 1 copy of the Excalibur, which this is probably interchangeable with something else if you would like to, but still having the ability to attach it to this is still pretty nice. We then have the 1 Ouroboros, the 2 copies of Sage. I feel like it's very important to play the 2 copies of Sage alongside the Girl just because it gives your deck more resiliency. But then we have the 1 copy of the Utopic Rising, which again can be a pretty solid follow-up play as well, as it can just bring back one of your number seed monsters in your graveyard and give you access into this potentially. We have the number 39, the Draco, the F-Zero. We then have the 2 copies of the Futures Exil to round out the deck profile. So anyways, if you made it this far into the video, I thank you so much for watching and I hope you all enjoyed. If you have any comments or suggestions, feel free to leave them down below. It's Bones, signing out.